Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bucs Bounty. Alongside me is Alex Presley. We're going to do something a little different today. Instead of just talking about the Buccos, who did just come off a sweep, we are going to talk about Alex Presley because he loves it so much. He loves talking about himself. He loves digging himself, patting himself on the
Yeah.
back. Just love, 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 press, press, press. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do because it'd be fun. Press is filling in. Thank you so much. And I'm excited that people are going to get to know Alex Presley a little bit better.
Yeah, anytime I get to come, talk about myself, like you said, I'm just such a braggadocious type that this works out perfect for me. I get to puff myself up a little bit more.
Yeah, what most people don't know is you usually talk in third, like you like to say, Presley likes,
Oh, yeah, like
that's how
Ricky
you normally
Henderson?
talk. Yeah, so I
Yeah, like
think at
Ricky?
the end of the day, that's how you should give this entire interview.
We'll see. It's gonna be hard for me to say "I" and not Alex for sure.
Yeah, I figured as much. Actually, you like to refer to you as AP, is what I've come to find.
There's quite a few.
AP doesn't like that.
Yeah, it's
I'm all in your
I'm
dome
I
right
just
now.
have I have so many nicknames right now, I can't keep up with them, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's go back to Louisiana. Um,
Yep.
growing up, obviously had a love for the game. What was that moment that pulled you in and you're like, this is all I want to do?
I think, just as a kid, we played outside all the time, as you know, at that in that generation, whether you were with friends or like for me, I would go outside after school every day. I'd either shoot the basketball by myself completely or just do little things. And I remember I used to take, I had a plastic bat and I would go in my backyard and we had, acorns that would come out of our trees in the backyard. And I would go out there when the season was right and toss them up to myself and I'd hit them
The
on the
original
roof of the
Fungo.
person's house.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll explain that
I'd hit
meme,
him on the
folks.
roofs. Yeah. So, I mean, I was training and not even knowing it. I was just having fun, uh, doing little stuff that got me coordinated, and then it just kind of you get into competitive sports and some kids you feel like you have to kind of drag it out of them. I was never one of those kids. I always wanted to practice. I was always dragging my dad out to the field and off times, we go to practice, but that wasn't the real practice. We go out on our own and hit. Uh, so very thankful for him for taking me out. Now that I'm a dad, I kind of can see how he may not want to do that every day, and he did it anyway. And I'm sure he really enjoyed it. But yeah, a lot of practice, did a lot of stuff that a lot of kids weren't doing at that age, as far as reps and stuff like that. But just me knowing that I wanted to do it, I always looked up to major league ball players, of course. A lot of games. I'm sure you're the same way. I think you were a Braves fan, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, More so, I was more of a Cubs fan. It's the WGN and the TBS. We got to watch those teams all the time. They were on every day, basically. So that's what we were exposed to. And my family, my mom's side of the family's from the Chicago area, so there was ties as well. So I always want to play for the Cubs. Never happened. I'm thankful I played for the Pirates. Now I'm not really. Once you get in it, you're not really a fan of anybody. So now I don't really like the Cubs that much anymore. Uh, but yeah, just the seeing that, and we'd go on trips to watch games in Dallas, which was the closest. So Arlington, we'd watch the Rangers. So they were kind of like my other team. Um, the Pudge Rodriguez's of the world. I'm going to age myself a little bit. Nolan Ryan was on the team when we first started going, but a lot of good memories about those guys. And they were like superheroes. They were like, they weren't even real people, right? It was something that you didn't know you could be until it actually happened. So I always had just an affection for sports and especially baseball, and I just always wanted to be doing it nonstop.
So, real quick to bring it home with the plastic bat and the acorns. First
Hmm.
off, I didn't have a plastic bat. I took an old wooden bat I found in a locker in my garage, and I would hit pears. So, same thing, just
There you go.
more meatheadish. But the funny thing about the acorn drill is, Alex, we hit it together. We trained together a lot when we were
Yep,
playing. We'll get into all that. But one of your favorite drills was a fungo drill, where you would toss it
it
up and
was.
what hit it just like the acorns. It's
Yep.
funny how life comes full circle, right?
I never thought of that. I'm glad you said
You're
that because
welcome.
that never even crossed my mind. But that's probably why I was pretty good at it. I did it since I was a kid and didn't even know it. But uh, Yeah, it's funny the things that can get you going and what kinda makes things click in your body and in your mind, and that was just one of those things that I did every day before the game. I'd go in the cage and toss the ball up to myself and try to hit line drives. I would pitch to myself with my tosses in, out, pull some, hit some the other way, so, um, yeah, it was full circle. I didn't think about that. That's really smart you put that together.
Yeah, when you're just a little squirrel just hitting the nuts, and then all of a sudden,
Just
you're old squirrel hitting the ball. So I want to go back to when you said you went to games with your family. Is we took a lot of pride in giving back to the fans. The game gives a lot to us. Can we give back to it? Do you remember a time where maybe Nolan Ryan or someone that took a little time, either threw a ball at you, maybe even they just looked at you? Maybe it's none of that. Maybe it's just a moment that was like, yeah, that guy is a superhero, and you're just in awe.
well, honestly, I was too shy to even try to ask for a ball at that point.
Weird.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know me well. When I was a kid, I didn't want to bother those guys. I'd watch them, but they made the game look so easy. That's the one
Mhm.
thing I remember. And I remember the people would be asking for autographs and stuff like that, and I would never really. I wanted an autograph. Don't get me wrong, but I just never really got the nerve to go and yell at them and say, "Hey, hey, hey." What's funny is how this kind of translated into whenever I played. So, as you know, as a former player, of course, if people want balls, they want things signed all the time. So, whenever there'd be a group of kids and they're yelling and they're acting like maniacs, right? Most of them, not all of them, I would always seek out the kid that was too afraid to say anything to me, and that's who I
That's
would try to
awesome.
give the ball to first. So I almost felt like I was giving it back to myself a little bit at that point. So just a thing that I did. Nothing against the kids that were talking or that were vocal, which they had to get your attention somehow, right? But they got
Yeah.
balls too. But I always checked to see if there was that kid that maybe was hesitant to say anything.
So, obviously, we don't have to go into you were good in high school. Why Old Miss? You ended up at Old Miss. What drew you there? There's a lot of great baseball in Louisiana, but you chose to go out of state, get away from family. You know, I went in state, but got away. I thought it was really important for me to get somewhere where I could grow up. It wasn't easy at first, but talk about that move, that transition, and that why.
Yeah, so I was pretty much recruited by everybody in Louisiana except LSU, where I had grown up watching and
Stupid
wanted to go
LSU.
for so long. So, and it's a funny story how things kind of work out because I never expected to be going to Mississippi. I didn't know much about Ole Miss at all, and we had a high school tournament, and it was like a round robin deal with probably 4 or 5 teams, and we played another team from Louisiana, Barb, who's a nationally recognized high school, and their catcher, Justin Brashear, ended up being my roommate my freshman year, was committed to Ole Miss. And then I had a teammate on my team, Robert Lane, who was a quarterback and a baseball player. He was committed to Ole Miss to play quarterback, but still kind of wanted to play baseball. So the one of the assistant coaches, Dan McDonald, who's now the head coach at Louisville, was at that tournament and he saw me by coming to see those guys, and they ended up offering me a scholarship, and I took a visit and all that stuff. And then, I mean, they were my best option. I didn't have any, uh, Power Five schools that you would call that were I was going to go to. So uh, they're in the Southeastern Conference, which is a huge conference, not a traditional power in that conference, and we kind of were able to build something there with the group that we had come in there. So I kind of bet on myself a little bit because it was really my only scholarship or really notice from a school of that caliber as far as a Power Five school. So I kind of went into it knowing that there was going to be a lot of competition, and it all just really kind of worked out. Um, and sometimes you just got to bet on yourself and see what happens.
And why do you think that was? Because obviously you're one of the better high school players in Louisiana. That's the reality. If you made it to a Division I school, you're one of the best players in the state. To be, a guy that's seen by Ole Miss and they're like, I want to take a chance on that. Why do you think it was that you didn't get that big opportunity from other schools? And why do you think Ole Miss chose you?
I don't know
Oh yeah, that one's
exactly.
tough because that makes you really talk about yourself. Let's go.
Well, I mean, I had accolades in high school, of course. I mean, we all did. You play Major League Baseball, you're going to have accolades in high school. I'm not, if anybody that follows my career professionally knows I wasn't a home run hitter, but I hit a lot of homers in high school. I led Louisiana, the state of Louisiana in homers my senior year. So it's not
Yeah.
like I wasn't doing anything. Yeah, there you go. Um, but
Dig it, dig it,
yeah, I
dig
don't
it.
know. I just don't know. Like, I don't. There, I wasn't on the travel circuit. That wasn't really much of a thing at that point, at least in Louisiana. So I didn't get to go out and get tons of exposure. But it all worked out in the end. I ended up at the right place, and yeah, no regrets. It got me to where I am, or to where I ended up getting my career. That was a big a part of me getting there, was going to Ole Miss, and just the way that everything worked out for me. When you look back at, a lot of it's comes to chance. What if I wouldn't have played well when that assistant coach was at the tournament? I honestly don't remember what I did, but he saw something in me that others didn't see, and I think that's one of the things that really attracted me to go there, especially.
That's cool. So you get in. Was it all like cookies and cream right out of the gate? You just started raking. You started as a freshman, then sophomore year, even better. Junior year, I'm like, look at me.
No.
Or was there a transition phase? Like for me, like I always joke around is I had a higher GPA than batting average my freshman year, which is not good. I wasn't the brightest tool in the shed when it comes to my schoolwork, but I hit 169 and I had a 3.8 GPA. And I forget my dad saying
Hey.
like, never thought that would be the case on either one. But it was a
Yeah.
great learning experience for me. Talk about that in your transition to get into that next phase, which is your junior year and get drafted.
Yeah, it was definitely a humbling experience showing up. Everybody that's there is you, or perceived to be better than you in high school. And so you have competition. We had a tight knit group, which was good, but things didn't go too hot for me, at least in the first part of the fall, my freshman year. I remember our head coach, Mike Bianco, who's been there for, man, he's been there, what, 20, probably 26 years now, which is insane this day and age. He came up to me and he goes, "Hey, Alex," he's like, "Do you I remember I was hitting BP. We're in the middle of BP. I'm between rounds, hanging around the cage." He goes, "Hey, do you have an alarm clock?" And I was like, yeah, I guess back in the day we had alarm clocks, right?" And
Mhm.
he goes, "Set it for a different time tomorrow, because you need to figure something, you need to change something up." And I was like, "Oh gosh, like I'm really not making a good impression." And it turns out, so the way things work out, so my freshman year ended up being a really good year for me, because I ended up finishing that fall pretty good. Made enough of an impression. I think I was going to redshirt, and we had a JUCO guy that was going to play center field to start. And the week or so before the first game, he got a DUI, so he was suspended, and then
Wow.
I got forced into to action in center, and that year he never got the spot back. So I took advantage of that opportunity. Now my sophomore year was a little bit different. Ended up getting benched halfway through my sophomore year for the same
Uh-oh.
guy. So so yeah, it seemed really easy the first year once it got going, and then I kind of hit a rough patch. But that sophomore, or the summer after my sophomore year, I went to Cape Cod. I always say, I guess they had planned ahead after my freshman year to bring me there, because if they saw me my sophomore year, they might not have brought me on the team. Uh,
Yeah. That is the
um,
advantage of going to a big school though. Like they open that
exactly.
door up a lot faster, so that's good. Yeah.
Yep. So we had a little bit of a feeder to the Chatham A's. If anybody's ever seen Summer Catch, the movie, that's the team
Oh,
I
we've
played for in
seen
the
it.
summer. Um, Ended up having a really good summer. I think I was like third or fourth in hitting in the whole league. So that kind of elevated me back, and then had a pretty good, I say great, really good junior year that ended up getting me drafted by the Pirates in the eighth round. Um, and I think it was Darren Mazurowski's first year of scouting that year. I saw him in Altoona and I said, "Man," I was like, "I'm surprised you didn't get fired after that first year." They're probably like, "Yeah, this guy doesn't know what he's doing," when he started picking guys like me and whoever else we had. Because I don't know, it's just fun. He's the guy that, as you know, has uh, been with the Pirates ever since that point, and basically was one of the guys that ushered Connor Griffin in as well.
We talked to those guys about your changeup. Can you tell us about how you develop that? Is that something you tinker with often?
Oh yeah, minor leagues just each level I've thrown it more and more. Got to double A and it was like, all right, like I need a pitch to kind of get me out of stuff, kind of get me sync back up, and that's the changeup for me. It's like when I'm kind of spraying it with the fastball, slider, like whatever. Like changeup is my kind of get back pitch. Like it just syncs the body up. Like for whatever reason, but it does. I think last year in Indy, all those guys like, hey, like look, man, you're close to the big leagues. Like you probably need to start getting used to this pitch. Like it's gonna be a good pitch. And so in Indy last year, I started throwing in. That was just kind of a nice confidence boost, and came back into this year, with a lot of confidence with it. And I do have the command with it, which is nice. But yeah, and then up here in the big leagues, like it's got good results. So yeah, but yeah, it's definitely a pitch that it's a field pitch.
Catch the next Bucs BP show presented by Pella Windows and Doors in Pittsburgh.
So you get into Pro Bowl. I don't think a lot of people probably know your story in Pro Bowl. Once again, it didn't go the way you would probably want it to go, but it probably built who you actually became. So just walk
Yeah.
us through, those first couple seasons, because it started off really good, then it fell back, and then you jump forward,
Mhm.
and you didn't even know if you were going to have a job at some point.
Right, definitely. Yeah. Uh, so after the draft, if you're a top 10 round guy at that point, you're considered, somewhat of a prospect. You got a chance, right? You get a little bit more of a leash. So I came in to Williamsport, was our short season. A bunch of the college guys went there to start out. Performed okay. Nobody really performed well. Like we all performed a little below par. So
That's
you're
kind of how
kind
it
of
goes
with
after a short
everybody.
season, right? It's
Yeah,
such a
yeah.
weird
So
transition. Nobody really does anything. Maybe a couple of the Latin guys, and maybe one or
right.
two dudes has like a moment, but nobody really does well that first year. It's kind of weird that it's always like that. So
Yeah, and
they don't do that.
you're playing more games than you've ever played because you're taking the college season and then you're adding a pro 60 something game season in. So you're doing something you've never done before. Now you have wood bats full time. Out, only other time you're really competitively swinging wood was in the summer, but um, kind of whatever. Everybody kind of was a little subpar. So, that's okay. I'm with the pack, right? Nobody stood out. It's just the first half season. And then my second season in Hickory, where I played against you for the first time when you were in Asheville with the Rockies
Beat the
low
shred
A.
out of you guys.
Well, I had a good year. I had a good year.
You did
I
have a
don't
good
know
year.
exactly what my numbers are. Um, Close to 300. No, I think maybe double digit homers. I don't remember exactly.
We'll just say
Then I
yes.
came back. Then I came back the next year. Dave Littlefield, who was our GM, who drafted my draft class, got fired. Neil Huntington was hired in. So I'm no longer a guy for the GM anymore. So I kind of get pushed back to ground zero to some extent, right? I had a good year before. I'm sure they saw that. So I go to high A in Lynchburg, Virginia. Don't play that great. I mean, I probably hit about 250 or so. Um, and then I come back, go to spring training the next year, and I repeat high A. I go to high A for 2 years in a row. And anybody that follows anybody in minor league baseball knows that for the most part, if you're repeating a level, especially in A ball, that's not a good thing. That's a problem. You need to get into the double A, triple A
Wait.
realm of
Didn't
minor
you
league
play in
baseball.
Hawaii? Didn't you play in
I
Hawaii?
did
That
play in Hawaii. I did. I went. You were there as well.
yeah, I
Were
was
you
gonna
there the
say
same
like
year as
you're
me?
right there. You what?
Were you there the same year our same year? Was it
Yeah,
'07?
yeah.
I think it was. Okay.
'07. You guys had the best team.
We did, and we lost in the playoffs. We had a really good team, but
Who won?
yeah, I hit okay there. I was kind of a replacement. We had a guy that was there, and then he had to leave, so I came in and filled his shoes for a little over a month. Ended up playing pretty good, but
Yeah.
repeated high A. came back and I wasn't really starting. I wasn't really playing. You know how it goes. The guys that were in low A the year before, they're coming up to high A. And I
Their
played a little
priority, you're
bit. I
not
mean, I played a
now. Yeah,
decent amount, right? I played an okay amount, but I wasn't starting. You know, back in those days, you're playing every single game. If you're a prospect, you're rarely, you know, we didn't have the load management, take a day off. If
yeah,
you
it's a
weren't
little
playing,
opposite.
somebody
You know
was
what I mean?
no, somebody
Yeah,
was coming up to you and asking you what was wrong if you were in the starting lineup. It
yeah,
basically
exactly,
is how it would go.
exactly.
But another similar type year, but the difference that year was that we went to the playoffs. Okay, that year we went to the playoffs, and I got to the point where I was playing in the playoffs at the beginning of the playoffs. Okay, and so they call up a kid that we both know that we've talked about recently, you and I, by the name of Starling Marte. He got called up to our team just for the playoffs. He came up from low A. So now I'm not playing, which, okay, whatever. Fine. He has a play in one of the first games he plays in. He slides in the second. He twists his ankle. He's done for the playoffs. So now yours truly is now the guy again, right? So we make this run in the playoffs. We win the championship. I play really well. I make some crazy catches by the wall and left field, and all this stuff goes swimmingly for me the rest of the way. And I go home and I don't know what's going to happen to me. I'm not sure if I'm going to get released when I come back. I Because I'm aware of the situation. I feel like some guys, they kind of go through this whole process unaware of what can happen to them, and I was fully aware of what the position I was in and what I needed to do. So um, I say I worked extra hard. I worked hard every offseason, but I really tried to change some stuff. I tried to change my body, try to change my swing. I knew I needed to do something because I knew this might be it. This could be the last hurrah for me as I go to Bradenton in the spring. So I go to Bradenton, stronger, probably faster, better than ever, right? And I feel like I have this nothing to lose mentality because I've kind of already come to this conclusion that things could go bad, and me caring about things going bad for so long didn't work for me anymore.
Right.
So I kind of put all that aside. I said I'm going to give this everything I have and try not to worry about things that I can't control, which is way more difficult than just saying that out loud, right? But you know, you hit rock bottom, you feel like you've hit rock bottom, and you're freer for whatever reason. You kind of say, I'm more free to play
100%.
at that
Yeah.
point. I have a really good spring. I I know I have to go to double A. I know I'm not, I know there's no such thing as me going back to high A for a third year. It's double A or I'm out. That's what I know. So I have a really good spring, the best spring I've ever had by a landslide. I make the team in double A. So just to name some names on that double A team, it's, you
You
know,
guys
it's
were really
Jordy, it's Jay Hay, it's Chase Darno, it's Tony Watson, it's Jared Hughes, it's um, I can go on and on. There's more, way more. A lot of the guys that ended up being a good portion of the nucleus of the playoff teams for
Justin
Pittsburgh
Wilson would probably be one.
with Justin Wilson. It's just it's crazy the amount of people that we had that made it and had real impact in Major League Baseball. But I'm starting in left field. I don't think they had anybody else, to be honest. I think I played well. They didn't have anyone else they wanted to put there. So I'm in. So I get the opportunity. You know, half the battle, maybe more than half the battle, is getting the actual opportunity to play.
No doubt.
That's
No
very
doubt.
difficult. You take that for granted. Some guys, it looks easy, and you watch guys like a I'm gonna bring him up again, but you watch these prospects, you watch like a Connor Griffin and all these opportunities these guys are getting because of the talent that they have. Sometimes you only get one opportunity sometimes, and you have to take advantage of it. And that's what it
100%.
felt like. And I could not get out that when I went to Altoona. I just couldn't.
That's when
I
it all
think I
came
hit
together,
like
right?
it did. It was one of those situations where I think I tried to be somebody that I wasn't for the first, you know, 4 years of pro ball. I finally realized I have to be this guy, this speed, contact. I got to be running full tilt every time I get on base in the field. I have to be trying to steal. I have to take extra bases. I have to hit the ball the other way. I have to bunt. All the things that aren't the thing that you envision yourself to be, I guess. Like the sexy player. I was like, I'm not going to be a sexy guy. I gotta. Well, I mean, off the field maybe, but on the field, uh, I'm kidding. It's a
Yes.
joke. I couldn't resist it.
That's how he really talks, folks. I know him really well.
On the field, I had to be that guy that everybody was like, he's different in a certain way. So I had to separate myself. I hit probably 360 in 2 months in Altoona, got moved up to AAA, and I hit for the cycle, I think, in the third game of AAA in Indy, and hit close to 300, maybe right underneath it that year. And I got called up that year, which is insane because from where I came from, it looked like I was going to get sent back home. And I got all the way to the big leagues in that 1 year when things seemed like it wasn't looking too good.
And when you got that call, obviously you guys won the championship at AA, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. Yep.
And then that AAA team was really, really good too. That's where we came across each other again. Jay Hay threw my glove, and you guys won that game. Still pissed off about that. And but we're playing against each other in AAA. But you get that call up. I get the call up the same time. We have the exact same number when it comes to, because we were called up the same day. Talk a little bit about what all went through your head. Because it's overwhelming. Everybody's got a different story. Tell us about the call. It wasn't on social media because Twitter was just starting to come to be. It was more Facebook and MySpace back then. So we're
exactly old. It was kind of one of those things that didn't seem real at the moment, especially where I came from early at the beginning of that season. And when you're in the minor leagues, especially in the lower level of the minor leagues, the big leagues seem like they're so far away. They seem so far. I mean, the players, they seem like they're at a level that you maybe could never get to. It just feels that way. And all of a sudden in one season, I was going there. I remember Dean Trainer was Frank Krimblis. My bad. Frank Krimblis was my manager in 2010. I got it mixed up.
But Dean Trainer, you had to say his name first just because he's a legend.
Yeah. Dean's he's up there for me in just overall people that I've been around in baseball. But Frank Krimblis, I go in, we're in Louisville, finished the year out. We're not going to the playoffs in Indy. And I go in, I'm like, okay, it's not even crossing my mind that I'm getting called up. You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't a thing. I wasn't even knowing that was a possibility. I'm not on the 40-man. Didn't even consider being on the 40-man. That's kind of where I was at mentally. I was just playing each day and trying to do the best I could. And he calls me in and he said something about, like to see you. I think you're going to get some more at bats this year. And I was like, what do you mean? And I'm going to get more at bats. He's like, yeah, I think you're going to get some more at bats in Pittsburgh. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're getting called up. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like how did we get here? It wasn't, the crazy thing is if you talk to, I'm sure if you talk to coaches in the organization prior and they said I was getting called up, they probably say that's insane. He's not getting called up this year because they saw where I was at, right? Things weren't going great, but had my car there. I was ready to go home. My car's packed. When this game's over, I'm out, right? I'm driving back to Louisiana. That's my plan. All of a sudden, my plans get upended in a good way, obviously, and I drive to Pittsburgh from Indianapolis, just like that.
Dude,
my bad. Louisville.
No one destroys a baseball like Oneil Cruz.
That is the hardest hit ball in known Major League history.
Pitchers should consider themselves Warren.
And it is gone. There's a cruise missile.
Log in with your cable provider and stream the Pirates all season long on SNP 360.
Let's fast forward and let's talk about our friendship a little bit.
Mhm.
2012, you come to Knoxville. We do a show called Driven. You train with me, and then we did that a couple more times over the next couple years. Just talk about the bond that team had and how fast it happened, and kind of how we went about things in the off season, because it was a lot of fun. A lot of people don't know that it's a way of life, and I think it started going back to when you said you went all in. That
Mhm.
never changed, because if anybody knows me, I was a psycho. So you jumping on board and doing that, it just was a perfect fit.
Yeah, yeah, we worked out quite a bit in the off season. I came to Nashville for weeks, and we hung out, and it wasn't just about the training, right? It was about uh, being together and being teammates and becoming great friends is what it, and just nobody realizes how much fun that is. You and I, we both love the grind of the off season. It's one
No
of the
doubt.
things that I probably
No doubt.
miss the most about
That's
playing
kind of what I was alluding
outside
to. I
of.
wanted you to say that. So thank you. That was
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah. So
We love the
outside of.
grind.
Love it, love it. Can't get enough of it. So, outside of, maybe you're missing being around guys in the clubhouse atmosphere, the grind in the off season is up there, uh, is one of the things I miss the most. And, you push me. I hope to think that I pushed you. You made me do
Oh
some
yeah,
things that
you
I
made me
didn't think
think
I
a
could
lot.
probably do.
Yeah,
Um,
you made me think a lot. Well, you ran a lot better than me. I don't know if you know that, still do. But
well,
yes, you
well,
definitely
you
pushed me
lifted a lot better than me, so that's how that you made me get physically stronger. I maybe got you a little bit faster, and
Yeah,
we did it
you
that
always
way. But
but I got to say this about those moments, and why I brought it up is, like, yeah, we got really close. Micah's my girl, and I was in your wedding. But probably the coolest part is I got to watch you meet Janelle. But it was the bond we created, in the sense of, like, how we could go in depth, and your care for, like, what I was trying to figure out, and vice
Mhm,
versa, is what really is the coolest part about having a great teammate and a great friend, and what that bond really is, because you're fighting to do the same thing, right?
right,
Be really successful in something you've loved since you were a kid, throwing up acorns, but then it gets harder and harder, right? So having someone to lean on and be like, hey man, this is what I feel when you watch my hands. Hey, what are you seeing when I'm doing that? And, like, constantly trying to craft something that's always changing, because each year is different, because of
right.
circumstance, because of body, because of injury, because of life in general. But we were always trying to figure out what's the nugget or the edge, and then help each other piece it together and walk through it. That was the coolest
Yeah,
part
and
when all that happened.
yeah, it was one of those deals where you want a teammate to know you a way in which they can almost be a not a coach, but you can come ask me about what's going on with you, or you can say, "Hey, can you watch this at bat?" And you can say, "Can you watch this or that?" And I know what you're talking about and what you're trying to feel, so I can give way more feedback than just saying, "Oh, your hands are here." I know exactly why you're doing things. Not to mention, just you and I were very similar, have very similar journeys in baseball,
Mhm.
so you kind of need somebody to lean on here and there when things get difficult, because we didn't have the easiest careers. We had to learn how to be pros to starting and pros off the bench, so
Yeah.
we could give feedback on how can I get ready when I have to pinch hit, or what works, and what works for you. Have you found something that works for you? Maybe I can implement that into my preparation, and just things like that. But I mean, the brotherhood of the whole thing was the best part of it. It was sure, it was my swing and this and that, but just the friendship that we built through all of that, and all the trust. You have to put full trust into somebody to be able to do stuff like that.
No doubt.
So that's something that I'll always be grateful for. And yeah, man, we had some good times, and
Absolutely.
uh, learned a lot about each other. And now we still do it today. You can still go to each
Yeah,
other
that's
any
what
minute
I
today.
was gonna lead into it 'cause I know you gotta go. But that's kind of the whole thing is like when I think about an opportunity, whether it's in business, whether it's on the field at a camp or whatever, it's like, dude, I know this dude. He's my brother. I'm gonna call him and see if he can join. You know how many times I'll do that. And then being
Mhm.
a part of watching you grow into this realm, it's been fun. And you know me, my joy comes from those moments because I'm a catcher, I guess. I don't know, God made me to where like I like to help people see their potential. I like to watch them elevate, and that's the greatest reward for me. So yeah, like being able to go from on field to off field and walk through life has been really cool. And to see your transition into this realm, meaning broadcast and media, has been fun. And I hope it's been the same for you because it brings it back a little bit of those grindy moments.
Absolutely. And you have to have somebody that's going to tell you the truth and not tell you what you want to hear all the time, right? So I know I can go to you and say, "Hey, well now I can say, "Hey, like what do you think of that show? I felt a little weird for me." And if it was weird, you'll tell me it was weird. And if it was
Yeah, yeah.
good, you'll say, "Hey, that was good." And I'll say, "Nice." I'll say, "Well, how can I improve?" And same for you. If it just goes back and forth. You need somebody that's going to be that you can, have no judgment and tell you how it is, and know that you can trust that person. And that's exactly what we built over a long period of time. It doesn't happen overnight, right? But yeah, we're interconnected quite a bit. I mean, my daughter is your goddaughter, so I mean, we're pretty close. We're pretty tight.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Yeah, to say the least. And all right, to round it out, I got one of my favorite questions I like to ask people. Um, if you could tell little acorn Alex some advice, give me 1 to 3 things you would tell him. So that way, whoever's listening to this, they can kind of take that run. Because, I think it's incredibly important to look back and say, what would I have done different? And we've talked a lot about this. So I figured it'd be a easy thing for you to figure out an answer, or maybe not, because I put you on the spot, but I think you'll nail it.
What I would tell young Alex as he's growing up playing baseball would be just to try to keep, as you move up the ladder, try to keep the game fun. Try to keep it that feeling of when you were a kid playing the game. Play it for that reason and try your best to block the rest of it out, and you'll be just fine. Yeah, all the stuff that you're doing, don't don't let what other people are saying get you down, or your situation get you down. It's really not that important in the whole scheme of things. There are more important things. You're getting to play a game. It's a big part of it will be a big part of your life, but don't let it trump other things that are more important in your life, like your faith and family and things like that. Keep it where it should be, and you'll be just fine.
Dude, I think that's where we end it. Thank you. You were a good pinch hitter today, coming off the bench. Like you said, you got to be a pro whether you start or come off the bench. You nailed it today. I feel like you hit one of those homers off the bench that you were so good at in 2012. Thank you, Alex Presley.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So this is Bucs Bounty. Thank you for watching. Tune in to the next episode. Please like, subscribe, do all those things you do. And once again, if you got any questions, shoot them. Take care.